Hi everyone, welcome back to Get Her Done Garage. Well, today I got all the parts for replacing these cheap plastic parts on the fuel tank. This side was leaking and that side was leaking. I had these dry the other day, and then when I came in here and looked, they were a little bit damp from gas, proving they are the source of the leak and smell. So I already started getting the back seat out and everything else. You can watch my other video for that. And then I took this fuel line off. I pinched these two things here with some pliers and pulled that off. And I had forgotten there's actually pressure on there, so a little bit sprayed out, but no big deal. It was already gas leaking anyway. So I got that off, and now I'm about to start to pound out this ring to get this off. So one of the things I wanted to point out, and I'm glad I watched that video, was he made it clear, and I agree 100%, is you don't want any sparks right here. You're gonna have a big old open tank of gas right here, and you start hammering on this stuff and stuff starts sparking, that would be bad. So I got this aluminum tubing here, and I've got my old school Gorilla Coal non-sparking hammer, and I'm going to try to get this out and see what happens. I do have a brass punch coming, but I don't want to have to wait for it. I'm going to try this piece of aluminum fuel line that I crushed down on the end and see what happens. And I'll let you guys know how it works out. And we are back, and I ended up getting these lock rings off of both of them. They were kind of a bear. You had to pound on it pretty good, and of course my my aluminum tubing that I bent and formed into place did not work. That was a bad idea. So I got some aluminum rod that I cut, and that managed to get it all out. And now I've got them both popped out, and I'm going to see what it takes to replace them. All right, I got the fuel pump out and the lift pump out. So the lift pump is over here, and this is a saddle style fuel tank. There's basically this side over here, and then it's connected by a top portion and then over there. So it's got a pump from this side over to there for the main pump. But so here's the lift pump side, and it came out pretty easy. So the lift pump connects to the main pump over here. There's some wires and some hoses, and they all come off pretty easy. There's a great video by 1A Auto that takes you through all the steps that I'll include in this video, the link, and it gives you great info there. But it came out real easy, no major problems. The biggest problem has been hammering these rings out. That was a pain. And now I'm about to reinstall the new stuff. All right, I'm looking here at this factory. This is the pump that came from the factory, and I'm looking at this connector here. And what I was going to do is just take this new Delphi pump and then just use this part of it and use the factory pump. I'd prefer to use factory if I could, but this ain't working because this new one, you can disconnect them here. The factory one does not disconnect. So, yeah, that won't work. So I'm gonna have to use the new Delphi fuel pump. And you can see there's some manufacturing differences here. This cinder is open, and this one's got a thing here. But I mean, essentially all this crap is about was, here's the fuel pump, and it's got a reservoir here that, you know, keeps it from running out and sloshing around. End of the day, that's what all this is about, is you know, these big boxes and everything prevent fuel from sloshing around, and keep your fuel pump from starving for fuel. So I'm gonna have to use the new Delphi pump and the lift pump and put it all in there. All right, just wanted to point out some of the differences here in this Delphi unit, the brand new one here on the left versus the factory one. The main difference is that this fuel cinder is mounted like this, and this one is mounted like that. So it's going up and down here. This one's side to side. They still got the same amount of range. I don't see any issues with this, but you know, it is different. But at the same time, you know, we're sitting there talking about factory. Well, if the factory was so great, maybe it wouldn't have broken after 6 years and leaked out. So another comment too was, whenever I took this apart and I dumped this out, look at that. Look how dirty that is. I don't know why a bunch of dirt's coming out of there. I guess maybe there's a filter in there or something. But this is the return line. This is where fuel returns back into the tank. So I guess a bunch of dirt gets in there, and that's where it collected. So I don't know, maybe this is your fuel filter now. Who knows? Anyway, just wanted to point out the differences. Another thing I wanted to point out is this little mounting flange here was it had quite a bit of dirt on the flange here. You know, that's not the flange, that's just back there. But the flange has some dirt, so I'm cleaning that all out. So when that O-ring goes on there, it doesn't have to sit on a bunch of dirt and leak. Hopefully I can get this to not leak and I won't have a smell anymore. All right, I got the mounting flange cleaned up as good as it's gonna get. One thing I wanted to point out is I did run this car until it showed the low fuel. So interesting enough, you can see here on this passenger side, the lift pump side, it was pretty much bone dry. So that was truly empty. And I guess, you know, when the engine's running, it's going to feed back some fuel into this side, and then the lift pump lifts it over through these hoses to this side, and you can see there's still gas in here. So thought it was interesting, just wanted to share that. All right guys, success. And yes, I do have the O-ring in place, because if you didn't put the O-ring in there, you'd have to rip it back out again. Anyway, I got these hoses fed from this side of the tank to the other through a little tunnel that is not easy to do at all. And let me tell you what I did. I did 3 things. One is, you can see I used some little twist ties to really make this as tight as possible and get it as small and tight to fit through that passageway as possible. You can use zip ties or whatever. 2 is this tubing and everything was permanently in a curve because it had been in the packaging, And so I spent time uncurving it and making it straight, because it would just curve around inside the tank instead of going through the passageway. And 3, I got damn lucky. That's the only thing that I can say is I got lucky. So it actually, once I did those 2 things, tied those ends together real tight, made it straight, then after only a couple of attempts, it went through pretty quick. And so see if I can get on a mirror. It's probably not going to work, but anyway, yeah, this is not easy. This is the hardest part of the whole thing. Once you get that through, it's just simple. Put it all back together, and we'll start it up here in a little while and see if I can make sure it runs right. All right, well, I got it all back together. So the hardest part was snaking these through the tank. That wasn't super hard. And the second hardest part was getting those hold down rings back in place. My aluminum punch wasn't cutting it, and the brass punch wasn't cutting it. I had to bring this out. And yeah, it's steel, but at that point the rings were kind of in place. They were holding the seal down. There wasn't really any fumes anymore. It was just enough strength to get those rings fully seated and in place. Those aluminum and brass punches weren't going to cut it. I had to bring this out. And you had to whack on that thing pretty darn hard. Wasn't comfortable doing it, but that's what it took to get it in place. So unless you're gonna have to hit it hard to get those in place, so be prepared. But what I did want to show you is, this is the old one here, and it's stained from gasoline outside of the gas tank, so it was leaking. How, I don't know, but I will say that you might be able to see this. There's a little bit of burn mark on or something on that black wire, and I'm wondering if it was coming up the wire. There was pools of gas in these little chambers, so no way something wasn't cracked where it was leaking gas up through this lid here. And same thing here. I don't know how else it was getting up there, but one thing I did want to show was, this is the old one. I found this interesting. If I can zoom in here. That's the wire. I don't know if that's a gasoline mark or burn mark or what. But that's there. And I just thought that was interesting. That's in your gas tank. And there was some other thing too that looked like it was kind of burning. I can't find it, but anyway, yeah, that's it. I took the car, filled up the tank, drove's great, and I let it bake in the sun for an hour with a full tank, and it smelled inside. It wasn't smelling anymore, so seems like that fixed it. So if you got a smell of gas in the cabin of your Challenger, this might be it. So thanks for watching. Check out my other videos.